The lobby of airport, it seemed normal until the moment when he felt the air grow heavy, as if the danger had learned to walk in silence. A metallic announcement echoed from the ceiling, dragging along, and a black bag spun on the conveyor belt with a tag almost torn off, as if it had been ripped off in haste. Daniel stopped, not understanding why. A breathing, his voice faltered for a second. A child whimpered in the distance, and the mother tried to gently soothe it, but the sound of tears, it was louder than any voice. He saw nothing wrong. Even so, the heart, he warned, do not follow. Daniel was a police officer, but out of uniform he seemed like just another man trying to cling to life with both hands. He was returning from a short mission and carried in his chest an old weariness, a darkness so discreet that not even strong coffee could overcome her. He walked through the airport on autopilot, looking at faces and searching for the exit, thinking about himself, family, and what still needed fixing at home. That's when she noticed Achild sitting on the cold floor, near a column, hugging a small backpack. Her mother wasn't there, only the girl, too quiet, swallowing, tears and taking to breathing, as if trying not to bother anyone. Nearby, leaning calmly next to an officer, was a German shepherd in a vest K9, still young, almost a cub too big for its own seriousness. His name was Rex. One puppy handsome, but what caught the eye wasn't his appearance. It was Thessalon's, from his gaze. The way he seemed sniff the world moved without haste, as if searching for something no one dared to name. Daniel noticed a strange detail. Rex couldn't take his eyes off the baggage carousel, and his snout moved in micro-gestures, as if danger it had a smell. Nothing dramatic, just a persistent instinct, and that was enough for Daniel to smell it, heart to tighten. Before continuing, please show your support, like the video, turn on notifications and follow the page, because this story of loyalty and love, it starts small and grows like a wave. Daniel approached the girl carefully, lowering himself slowly so as not to frighten her. "Are you with your mother, child?" She shook her head, her eyes shining with tears, a breathing short. Daniel looked around, searching for someone desperate, a call, a sign, nothing, only lines, carts, announcements, and hurried people. That's when he heard a discreet sound. The collar of the police dog-lightly scraping, as if Rex had shifted his body weight without moving from the spot. Nobody understood, but Rex did something Daniel never forgot. He turned his snout toward the black bag, and then toward the child, as if connecting two invisible points. On puppy she doesn't speak, but sometimes she trusts it stems from something impossible to explain. Daniel felt like ignoring it, continuing with his routine, and calling an employee. That would be the safe way out. But then there was that light silent in the gaze of German Shepherd, a mixture of loyalty and contained urgency, as if he were trying to protect someone without causing alarm. Daniel didn't know it yet, but in that moment, without sirens and without apparent heroism, he was about to make a decision on instinct. And that decision would have a price. Rex didn't move quickly. It was an almost imperceptible movement, one paw in front, his body aligning itself with the track as if choosing silence over commotion. The puppy. He took a deep breath, and the sniffit became more intense, rhythmic, insistent. Daniel noticed a metallic smell mixed with the usual perfume of the lobby, something out of place, like danger trying to hide beneath normalcy. The black suitcase turned again. Rex tilted his head, his gaze fixed, and a slight tremor ran down his back. No barking, no action, just a silent plea for trust. Daniel felt the heart accelerate, without knowing why. He called the agent responsible for police dog with a short gesture. "See that?" the agent observed, too confident in the routine. "It must be a distraction." Rex heard the tone and took a half step back as if accepting the doubt, but not abandoning the loyalty. A child. He stood up, dragging his backpack, and stopped near Daniel, searching. Protection. The airport seemed to breathe harder. Carts creaked, announcements echoed, and the silence. Daniel's internal pain was getting heavier. Rex returned to sniff the floor, then the bag, then the girl. 3 dots, an invisible line. Daniel swallowed hard. The suitcase went past again. The German shepherd. He followed it with his whole body without touching it, as if afraid of waking something asleep. Daniel noticed a detail. The torn label had a childish symbol, an old sticker, just like the one on the backpack. Child. What a coincidence, he thought. Rex stopped, took a deep breath, and sat down. It wasn't submission. It was focus. Puppy. He chose to wait, and that choice spoke volumes. Daniel felt an old memory resurface, small decisions that changed destinies, and he pushed it away. It wasn't a time for philosophy. It was a time to observe, and observing is sometimes the hardest thing for someone trained to act. An employee tried to remove the bag from the conveyor belt. Rex immediately raised his snout, his muscles firm, a breathing short. Daniel intervened with an open hand. 1 minute. The agent frowned. The atmosphere became tense, with no one knowing why. Achilled, he pressed the backpack against his chest, tears restrained. The gaze pleading protection, Rex took a step to the side, positioning himself between the suitcase and the girl. He didn't touch. He didn't bark. He just protected with his body. Daniel felt a thread of light cross darkness. The doubt persisted. That wasn't training failing. It was instinct at work. The suitcase stopped at the edge. A crumpled corner revealed something beneath the lining, a hastily repaired seam. Rex brought his snout closer, recoiled, brought it closer again. Danger Daniel felt the heart tap on the ear. The agent still hesitated. It's routine, Daniel. Rex sat down again firmly, as if to say, trust me. I trust it has weight when it costs time and attention. Daniel requested discreet isolation, no sirens, no panic. The airport continued on, oblivious, while one police dog and a man drew a fine line between normality and rescue. When the lockdown began, the child, he tugged at Daniel's sleeve and pointed to the bag. It's my mother's. The sentence fell like a stone on water. Rex tilted his head gently and rested his snout against the girl's backpack. Love. The silence of the gesture brought hope and fear in the same measure. Daniel understood that it wasn't just an object, it was a story in motion. The puppy remained motionless, Lil saving space and time. Daniel's decision was made even without knowing the price. He would trust in German Shepherd and would follow the clues wherever necessary. The team advanced a few steps, maintaining a respectful distance. Rex followed each movement with a fixed gaze, his body in silent readiness. Puppy. He seemed to be measuring the time, as if he knew that any haste would break something invisible. Daniel asked that the suitcase be examined right there without moving it. The agent took a deep breath and agreed. He killed. She stayed by Daniel's side, too small to understand protocols, big enough to feel. Danger Rex returned to sniff. The stitching was redone. The metallic smell was stronger now. Daniel smelled it. Heart, the pressure increased, and for a moment the airport seemed suspended. With a thin blade, the technician opened the lining. Nothing exploded, nothing screamed. Only silence, heavy. Inside, among ordinary clothes, there was a sealed plastic envelope and a child's bracelet with a name engraved on it. Killed, he recognized the object and cried, tears running free. Rex relaxed a millimeter but didn't move away. The police dog. He wasn't looking for a spectacle. He was looking for protection. Daniel realized that the danger wasn't immediate, but it was real. A trail that needed to be followed carefully. German Shepherd. He sat down again as if to say, it's not over yet. The news spread in whispers. A supervisor arrived and asked for details. Rex maintained his position. Lealto, the decision made. Daniel explained the clues, without exaggeration. The supervisor looked at Child, the bracelet, the bag. He authorized the silent investigation. The rescue, it started without sirens, just like the puppy. He asked for it from the beginning. Trust Daniel's instinct, like Rex's, was recorded there, on paper and in memory. The airport remained open, but she had discreetly lit a light in that forgotten corner of the lobby. Rex guided the team to a nearby storage facility, following the sniff-like, someone reading an old map. The danger became clearer with each step, without needing words. Daniel felt the breathing heavy, the weight of knowing that small choices come at a high price. Child, it was handed to an assistant with love, and be careful. Rex looked back one last time, making sure she was safe. Then he moved forward. The puppy, he didn't need applause. He needed them to trust him. In the warehouse, one detail confirmed everything. The same stitching redone on other suitcases. Rex stopped, sat down, and looked at Daniel. That was the limit. The police dog, he had taken the team as far as he could. From then on, it would be humans dealing with humans. Daniel felt a mixture of hope and fear. The German shepherd, she moved closer and rested her head on his leg, a brief gesture. Leal, as if to say, I did my part. Thessalon's, it was broken only by the radio calling for backup. While the area was cordoned off, Daniel pondered the price of trusting his instincts. Hours of tension, suspicious glances, endless reports. Still, there was peace deep in his chest. Rex remained there, alert, protector, one hero without speech. Their skew, it wasn't over, but the path had been laid out. Daniel knew that this decision, to help on instinct, to trust in puppy would change lives, including his own, and the price would start to be paid very soon. The investigation began slowly, as sensitive cases demand. No handcuffs in sight, no spotlights, just questions that seemed too simple. Daniel was called into a glass room, where low voices echoed louder than shouts. Some colleagues praised the caution, others questioned the trust excessive in a puppy. Instinct is not proof, they said. Rex waited outside, sitting down, silent, as if he understood that the burden was now on human shoulders. Daniel felt the darkness doubt about trying to enter. What if he was wrong? What if the danger, could it be just a well-told coincidence? The camera footage began to be reviewed. Hours of ordinary people, ordinary bags, ordinary routines. Nothing screamed guilt. The supervisor sighed wearily. Perhaps the police dog, maybe he got confused. Daniel watched Rex through the glass wall. The German shepherd, he didn't move, his gaze fixed, the breathing calm. There was no anxiety there, only loyalty. Daniel remembered the child's bracelet, the engraved name, the Tiresias child. That was no accident. Heart, he insisted on it, even when logic dictated otherwise. Trusting instinct had a high social cost within the corporation. Doubt grew when initial reports didn't point to an immediate crime. The plastic envelope contained legal documents, seemingly harmless. Some suggested releasing everything and closing the case. Rex was taken to rest, and the silence. The hallway felt heavier without the sound of paws. Daniel missed it. Sniff constant, that invisible vigilance that kept the danger at a distance. Killed, she was already with social workers, safe, but the question remained, safe from what? Daniel realized that the biggest conflict now wasn't external. It was internal. Trusting in puppy, it meant confronting colleagues, hierarchy, and one's own career. That night, Daniel returned to the hotel without answers. The hot shower didn't wash away the weight on his shoulders. Heart. He remembered the moment when he helped the puppy by instinct years ago, when I still believed that right decisions were always rewarded. Now that same faith seemed naive. The love through work, the loyalty to the team and top protection, the vulnerable, were in shock. Rex slept peacefully in a nearby kennel. Daniel wondered if the peace-do German shepherd it came from knowing something that humans had not yet seen. The following morning, a detail changed the tone of the investigation. A technician pointed out a minor inconsistency in the documents. An altered date, almost invisible, too small to attract ordinary attention. Daniel sensed the heart speed up. He asked for more time. Some rolled their eyes. "Are you still on this?" Doubt returned, but now there was a glimmer of hope. Light Daniel asked for Rex to be brought back. Police dog, he entered the room, looked at the envelope and approached. Sniffing, he breathed calmly. He sat down. The simple gesture rekindled the hope, and the conflict was far from over. Rex remained seated at the table, the silence. His testimony was more eloquent than any other statement. The technician enlarged the image of the altered date, line by line, and something didn't match the official airport records. Daniel sensed the heart he hammered away, not for victory, but out of responsibility. If he were right, someone would have manipulated documents to move that suitcase without a trace. If he were wrong, he would have exposed his colleagues to ridicule for trusting someone. Puppy the German shepherd, he kept his gaze fixed on the envelope, breathing calmly, like someone keeping a truth until the right time. The team was divided. Some wanted to end it. Some wanted to delve deeper. The supervisor gave Daniel a few more hours. After that, it's over. The pressure was palpable. Rex accompanied Daniel through the hallways, the police dog attentive, sniffing doors and corners without haste. There were no barks, only loyalty in motion. Daniel realized that the danger it was no longer in the suitcase, but in the human decision to continue or give up. A trust in the instinct of puppy it required institutional courage, something rare when everything seems normal. A new review cross-referenced the data from the child's bracelet with missing persons records. A name emerged. Akilchi had been separated from her mother during an irregular baggage mix-up days before. It wasn't an outright kidnapping, it was something more subtle, a mechanism that exploited silence and hurry. Daniel felt hope and fear together. Rex approached the screen, sat down, and tilted his head. The simple gesture of German shepherd it seemed to be saying, "It's here." Puppy, he wasn't celebrating, he was confirming. When they called the social worker the child, she recognized the bracelet and described the bag. Tears. They returned, but now there was light. The mother was in another city, trapped in a bureaucracy that shows no mercy to those who have no voice. Rescue. It took shape without sirens, anchored in detail and patience. Some colleagues still doubted, murmuring about exaggeration. Daniel felt the weight of loyalty divided. To the team, to the work, to the instinct that protégé Rex remained by his side, steadfast. Late in the afternoon, a superior decided to keep the case open. Not out of faith, but out of accumulated logic. Daniel breathed a sigh of relief, but he knew the reckoning would still come. Police dog, he was praised in a cold, unemotional technical report. Rex didn't care. The love his was functional. Protect and follow. Daniel looked at German shepherd, and she thought about the price she would have paid for trusting in that first minute. Peace, it was still a long way off, and the silent climax was drawing near. The final stage of the investigation began with a discreet visit to the outsourced cargo sector. Daniel walked alongside Rex, sensing the silence. The place weighed on one's shoulders. Puppy, it advanced slowly, sniffing, the floor, the walls, the air. There was no hurry. The German shepherd. He stopped in front of an unmarked door and sat down. No barking, just trust absolute in his own instinct. Daniel requested access. An employee hesitated, citing protocols. The danger it was now bureaucratic, but just as real as before. Daniel insisted, feeling the heart beating harder every second. Inside the room, Ordinary boxes concealed a recurring pattern: swapped labels, adjusted schedules, overlapping records. Rex carefully scanned the space, the police dog driving without touching anything. In a corner, he stopped again and looked at Daniel. There was another suitcase with the same repaired stitching. The mechanism was clear: legal displacements that separated people, family stories. The rescue, it wasn't about an object, but about broken bonds. Daniel felt a mixture of anger contained and hope practice. The instinct of puppy eye had drawn the entire map. Internal pressure increased when a manager tried to shut down the investigation due to lack of immediate impact. Daniel listened quietly, but inside, love, what was certain, spoke louder. Rex stood motionless, leal, as if he knew that this was the human test. Daniel presented the pattern, the details, the children's bracelet, the child already safe. The argument wasn't emotional, it was technical. Still, it came at a high price. Sideways glances, promises of a review of conduct. The price was beginning to materialize in the form of isolation. In the hallway, Daniel felt the weight of the decision, breathing short, a darkness lost in thought. Rex approached and rested his snout on his hand, a brief gesture. Protector. There was no excessive consolation, only presence. Loyalty to puppy. Daniel was reminded of the initial reason: protect the vulnerable one when no one else is watching. Silence. It was broken by a phone call. The mother of child, she had been located. She was alive. She was waiting. When the confirmation arrived, there was no celebration, just peace contained. Daniel closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the heart slow down. Rex sat beside him, attentive, as if he knew the work wasn't finished yet. The investigation had revealed the truth, but the climax, human, silent, and definitive, was still ahead. The police dog, he had fulfilled his part. Now the price of Daniel's decision would begin to be exacted, in the harsh light of revelation. The revelation didn't come with sirens or screams. It came in a simple room, with overly bright light and chairs lined up. Daniel was standing when his mother entered, his eyes sunken from sleepless nights, the heart marked by absence. Killed, he ran first, stumbling over his own steps, and the embrace happened without words. Tears. They fell into silence, thick, honest. Rex remained seated a few meters away. The puppy, he remained still and respectful. He didn't move forward. He didn't need to. The German shepherd, he seemed to understand that that moment was human. Daniel felt the breathing to relieve, as if the air were finally returning to its place. The mother explained in a low voice how she had been pushed through a bureaucratic process that listens to no one. A regular exchange of suitcases, a repeated mistake, a machine fueled by haste. The child's bracelet had been placed in the suitcase out of fear of losing her daughter, the detail that no one noticed. Rex tilted his head when he heard the name of child, as if confirming the end of the trail. The police dog, he wasn't looking for someone to blame. He was looking for protection. Daniel realized that the threat was never explosive. It was structural, and for that very reason, dangerous. When the records were confronted, the truth stood out without pretense. Labels were switched, schedules altered, signatures repeated. Ordinary people participated without realizing the damage they were causing. Darkness, it didn't have a single face. Daniel felt the ethical weight of the discovery. Exposing the scheme would mean closing doors and opening wounds. Love, he demanded courage for justice. Rex stood up, took 2 steps, and sat down again. The simple gesture seemed to say, "Go." Puppy, it had taken them this far. The rest was a human decision. The meeting ended without applause. An agreement was signed, measures were adopted, and the machine began to grind to a halt. Rescue, it was completed in layers, not in a single act. Daniel left the room with a strange feeling of silent victory. Rex walked beside him, protector the sniff. Now it's calm, A peace. It wasn't complete yet, but it was possible. Child, he held his mother's hand tightly, as if relearning the world. Daniel realized the price was coming. Reports, questions, veiled estrangements. Before saying goodbye, the mother thanked Daniel and Rex. It wasn't a speech, it was a long, firm look, full of trust. Rex didn't react beyond a slight wagging of his tail. Police dog, he seemed wise, not aggressive, and present. Daniel sensed the heart to warm, and at the same time to tighten. The decision made years ago to help on instinct had saved a family today, but she had also left a mark on his path. The climax had passed. The consequence was yet to come. Salvation spread silently over the following days. Child, she returned home with her mother, relearning simple routines, the sound of the door, the smell of dinner, the room lit by a lamp, light lukewarm. Daniel watched from a distance, ensuring protection without intruding. Rex remained on duty, the puppy attentive Liel, now known in the hallways as the one who doesn't make mistakes easily. The rescue, it had been concrete, but the price began to show in small cracks. Cold meetings, invitations that never arrived, the feeling of always being watched. The heart Daniel understood. The career, perhaps not. The reports progressed and the scheme was carefully dismantled so as not to harm innocent people. People were relocated, processes corrected. No headlines. Love, he requested discretion in order to be honest. Rex participated in the final procedure, sniffing gold records as if reading memoirs. The German shepherd, he looked tired but unharmed. Daniel realized that peace success doesn't come from noisy victories, but from paths forged with responsibility. Even so, there was darkness, in other words. The corporation penalizes those who break the routine, even when they are right. Daniel was called in for an evaluation. Technical jargon, neutral tone, restrained acknowledgement, a veiled warning about excessive initiative. He heard insolence, a breathing controlled. Rex waited outside, seated, protector. As he left, Daniel felt the weight of the price. Less space, more surveillance. But there was Hopain, what had been saved. A trust instinct doesn't win medals. It wins peaceful nights. Puppy, he nuzzled his snout against his leg briefly, as if remembering the essentials. Days later, Daniel received a simple message from his mother. A photo of child asleep, safe. No text, no request, just peace shared. Daniel closed his eyes, feeling the heart warming up. Rex was beside him, quiet, the sniff attentive to the world, the police dog. He didn't need to know what went on behind the scenes. He had fulfilled his mission. Protect. Daniel understood that the price of the decision was not punishment, it was ongoing responsibility, and he accepted it. In the final scene, Daniel and Rex walk through the same airport lobby. Everything seems the same, but it isn't. The silence. Now it carries meaning. Rex looks at the treadmill, then at Daniel, and continues on. The hero, he doesn't announce it. Her protégé, a loyalty she doesn't ask for permission. She acts when the danger prefers to hide. Sometimes the right decision doesn't make a sound. It's born from instinct, grows in trust. It is supported by loyalty, silent of whom protégé. Without asking for anything in return, Daniel paid a real price for listening to what few others hear, but he saved something greater than positions and praise. A family. The whole thing. Rex didn't seek glory. The puppy, he simply followed what he knew to be true. When the world rushes by, Thessalon's to German shepherd teaches that love, it's also about stopping, observing, and acting at the right moment. Sometimes heroes don't talk and they bark. If this story touched you, leave a little paw, leave a comment and share with someone who believes in the power of loyalty.